was a wild Tuesday in college baseball in general. So Wednesdays are typically the wild days. So who knows what we're in store for tonight? But probably the best midweek opponent Tennessee's going to see, at least early in this season. Xavier's played an absolute gauntlet of a schedule. Opened up in Arizona against a top 10 Oregon State team. They've played a series against Liberty. They played a series against Stanford this last weekend and took 2 of those 4. So Xavier comes in with a lot of upside and a team that expects to be in the postseason each and every year. So Tennessee's got their hands full here on a Wednesday.
The first of 5 games in a row for Xavier against SEC opponents. They go to Vanderbilt, not too far from here in Nashville, for a weekend set. Tennessee, they look to improve their unblemished record to start the season. They're tied for the 3rd best start in program history. They're going to go with the righty to start this midweek matchup. It's Thomas Crabtree making his Tennessee start debut.
Yeah, Thomas Crabtree, a Collierville native by way of Pearl River, very strong junior college, has had a couple appearances early in this season. It's a power righty. It's good breaking ball, sharp stuff. For him getting through this lineup that features a Luke Hammond for Xavier, it's his first game of the season, but preseason all Big East third baseman. They get him back today, and I know they're very excited about him.
Underway here at Knoxville. First pitch a strike for Thomas Crabtree. Jake Lambden, the spear of this Xavier lineup today, leads this team in average, 17 hits this season. We'll kick things off for a Musketeers lineup. Kind of mentioned they get some additions, but they also return a good chunk of guys from last year, a team that won 130 games, the 3rd straight year Xavier has done that, and they got a lot of firepower back from that team.
There's that over-the-top breaking ball from Crabtree on 0-2, just off the plate. First 2 fastballs have been at 92. Pretty good life on a chilly Wednesday, and especially with the wind kind of going against you. I think Lambden thought it might be a touchdown, but a pretty good frame there from Peebles, and yeah, that one's on the knees, and Lambden kind of knew it.
Lambden has been a tough out.
This play is ridiculous. With how the wind is swirling, you knew the ball was going to come back. He kind of hangs out, and see him slip there on the on-deck circle there at the end, but hangs on to the ball. That's a really good play. Gets the mask out of the way and goes over there and kind of hangs out till he figures out which way the ball's going to go, and ultimately makes that last stab to get the play or get the out.
The wind is absolutely howling today. It is gray. It was rainy earlier in Knoxville. Still maybe a chance for some sprinkles, but the wind is what's going to play a major factor here in this one. Blowing pretty heavy from right to left. It's even calmed down a bit from where it was right when we came on air. McCann Peebles, no problem with that foul pop fly out.
No, we may even see it flip at some point during the game, but we know there's going to be massive gusts, and if it stays like it is now, it's going to be a much different outcome on a ball hit to left versus right. It's going to be tough to get one out to right if the wind holds like it is right now. Crabtree's stuff so far, though. 92 to 94, and that breaking ball has been sharp. Leaves that one upstairs just a bit.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Connor Mish in the 3 spot for Xavier, getting the start at first base. His first AB here in Knoxville. 3-2 coming up. Two up, 2 down so far from Crabtree here in the first frame, and misses inside for ball 4. First base runner for the Musketeers.
Mish walked number 12 on the season, so he's obviously had a good eye from that 3-hole and extends the inning here with 2 outs.
Yeah, Connor Mish, reigning Big East Player of the Week. He will be the first base runner of this ball game and trying to set the table for Landon Minzik, freshman sitting in the cleanup role. Had 4 hits and 16 at-bats over the weekend in 4 games for Xavier out west against Stanford. Mentioned Xavier has been all over the country. Played 4 games, got their money's worth, played more than a typical series against the Cardinal, and split 2 wins apiece for each team.
Minzik, you can tell he's got a good frame for a freshman. Slides into the 4-hole out of Mokina, Illinois, if that's the correct way to say it.
A couple of freshmen have made an early impact for the Xavier squad. Same for Tennessee. And the Volunteers off to a 12-0 start. Got 3 big wins over the weekend out in Houston. Playing at the Astros facility. Took down Oklahoma State, Rice, and Arizona to win that tournament weekend. Sharp foul ball from Minzik into his own dugout. And a 2-1 count now with Crabtree. Sat down the first 2. And then walks Connor Mish.
Tony Vitello yesterday in his postgame when talking about Xavier really kind of raved about the coaching staff and how they recruit.
Foul ball off the leg of Minzik for strike 2.
On a day like today, that's gonna be even worse.
Never fun.
But Vitello was talking about kind of how these guys recruit like maniacs, and they've got guys from California, from New York. There's a lot of baseball talent in Ohio. Yeah. Most particular that comes to mind is Moeller. It's like a powerhouse out of Ohio, but they recruit nationally at Xavier, and that's why they always compete at a high level and develop guys well, and they're obviously not scared to schedule the type of schedule it takes to be ready for.
Maria Fisher in Knoxville, exciting midweek battle. Xavier and Tennessee just getting underway. Tennessee's offense will step up to the plate after a 6-home run evening last night in which they launched 3 grand slams. They lead the nation again in total home runs, and they've done nothing but damage top to bottom as they'll get their first look at Xavier tonight.
Dean Curley stepping in the box, responsible for one last night, hit a leadoff homer.
He's been at the top of this order for Tony Vitello each game so far this season. That top 4 in the lineup hasn't changed, and you kind of got a good reason why over the weekend. Those top 4 guys did a majority of the offensive damage out in Houston, and then you add Levi Clark to the mix at 5, and numbers become even bigger. Top of the order, 20 of the team's 32 hits in Houston.
Yeah, it's been extremely consistent and a whole lot of damage there at the top of the order for Tennessee. Looking at a good arm tonight, though, in Logan Schmidt out of Orange Park, Florida. It's going to be upper 80s, low 90s fastball. Came to Xavier by way of Satan. Yeah, definitely froze him there. Curley was looking breaking ball or wasn't looking for the fastball in that location. Paints it on the outside corner to get his afternoon started.
Now Schmidt, the right-hander, he's a senior. This is his first start with Xavier. He's made 5 outings out of the pen so far this season, 16 of them last year. But no starts as a Musketeer, had plenty of experience at St. John's River prior.
Yeah, he did have a sizable workload last year with, I think, 68 innings. And you can see the fastball at 92 has got some life to it. Numbers a bit inflated early this year. He's got a 12.46, but you know, one rough inning to start your year, and you just don't have enough time to kind of work that thing back down. So obviously one of the guys that they trust, and you can see the stuff early. He's plenty competitive.
Counts 1 and 2 to start with Gavin Keelan, SEC Player of the Week, National Player of the Week. Monster performances out in Houston. 9 of 15, 4 home runs. If you tally up the full week, he had 5 homers, added 1 against North Alabama in the midweeks. Keelan barrels one up. Dead center right at the 390 mark and caught by Anderson. But Keelan got all of that one on a line.
Yeah, that was an absolute laser. Just didn't get under it enough to carry it out.
2 quick outs for Tennessee here in the home half of the first, and that turns the page over for Hunter Ensley in the 3 spot. The veteran for this Tennessee team, 4 hits, 2 RBIs in Houston this past weekend, and made a fantastic catch last night up against the center field wall. Pretty much standard for Hunter Ensley these days.
It is, but it doesn't get old seeing it. I mean, he went in extremely hard last night, straight into the wall, and I said it last night, I'll say it again. It's amazing he holds on to the ball because he is going full speed. There is zero remorse for his own body. And in a Tuesday midweek when things have kind of been squirrely, it would make a lot of sense to a lot of people to pull up and play that ball off the wall. But he doesn't care. He's all ball straight into the wall, and it's just kind of who he is and why this is his team and he's the leader of it.
Yeah, no days off from Hunter Ensley. Weekend, midweek, you see full intensity, and that's just why he's become part of the definition of this Tennessee program of late. You see a lot of that in the lineup, top to bottom, but it starts with that veteran leader, and that's been Ensley.
100%. Logan Schmidt on the other side, though, has been working ahead of every hitter he's seen so far. Been able to land the slider for a strike, get a couple swings on it. Keelan's ball was smoked, though. You can tell a guy's locked in like that when everything's up the middle. Everything he hits is middle of the field. Timing's good. He's staying on the baseball.
A lot of barrels.
It was the same thing last night. Line drives up the middle. It was probably considered a bad night for him because he didn't hit a homer, but had a couple base knocks up the middle.
That's what happens when you start hitting multi-home run games. Normal good night becomes an average night. 3-2 count now for Ensley. He has battled back. Fouls off another.
Looked like Schmidt went right on right change there at 84. See the infield in the overshift. 3 guys to the left of second base.
The Volunteers 1-2-3.
Yeah, this is painted very similar to the Curley strikeout. 1-2-3 for Schmidt.
Down here in Knoxville, no score as both pitchers get a pair of strikeouts to start their afternoon. Game time moved up 30 minutes. Bit chillier in the air. The second of 2 midweek games for Tennessee, the start of a 10-game homestand that's going to go through the start of SEC play as we move through March. Non-conference play beginning to wrap up. Tennessee will host Florida in about a week and a half to open SEC play. That's one of the premier SEC series right out of the gates.
No warm-up period in this league.
No. Weather should be a bit better at Knoxville at that point. And Florida, you talk about craziness in the midweeks. Last night dropping a game to Central Florida 13-3. 1-2 off speed to Anderson and Crabtree.
Oh boy.
Third punch out. Got him with the breaking ball.
A little generous there on the strike 3, but Crabtree and the balls will certainly take it. It's a really good pitch, and it may have crossed the zone. Looks a little down and out.
Crabtree off to a really solid start. He's a newcomer for this Tennessee bullpen, the sophomore, you mentioned it, Will, from Collierville, Tennessee. This is just his 3rd outing of the year. He came from Pearl River JUCO where he threw 105 strikeouts and got 10 wins in the win column.
That's pretty good.
And so far, so good for him in his prior 2 outings. Just 1 hit allowed, 4 strikeouts, and now you add in the 3 for this one. He clearly still throwing strikes at this level.
Here's the first at-bat of the season for Luke Hammond. Arguably Xavier's best hitter.
Hammond, that's out to center field. Inslee first step back, and he read it perfectly. The wind is going to be a factor for these outfielders, but we haven't seen anything more than dead central so far.
Yeah, I think anything from the left center gap over could get pretty dicey, but pretty straightforward so far, and communication's really the key. When that thing goes up in the air, whether it's your short.
A lot of preseason hype for Isaac Walksman. D1 Baseball has him as the Big East preseason player of the year, and he now leads the team with 3 homers on the season. Next pitch, Jason Jellick. That's into the gap, and it's off the top of the wall. Jellick heading for second, back-to-back extra base hits for Xavier.
So after a smooth inning and 2/3 from Crabtree, back-to-back pitches, he's found some barrel. Both balls in the middle of the plate and 2 really good swings from Walksman and Jellick. Really no chance for Bargo to go get that one.
Yeah, that one about a foot from also leaving the yard. Now Eddie Peters, another 2 out at bat here for Xavier. Back-to-back hits for extra bases with 2 outs. Right when it looked like Thomas Crabtree was grooving through the inning.
And so for back-to-back days now, Tennessee finds himself down early.
Yeah.
It was the first inning yesterday. Quickly responded to kind of punch back, but today here in the second, Xavier strikes first. It's a good breaking ball there.
Yeah, Radford offense certainly put some pressure on Tennessee in that Tuesday. This is a Xavier offense that put up 21 runs in 4 games against Stanford on the road. They have played one of the nation's toughest schedules up to this point. They've seen some of the best pitching across the country and will continue to do so.
Yeah, what's interesting for Walkman, who just hit the homer, he started really slow this year. Came in at like .089, but was one of their best hitters last year. 330, 10 homers. Came in with a lot of hype. Not sure where that one was.
Crabtree can't get out of the inning there, looking for strike 3.
But a swing like that early in your season can kind of turn the table a little bit. I mean, it tends to even out, and you don't know if he's hammered some balls right at people or whatnot, but you can see the athleticism and the strength, obviously, with the homer there. And yes, he did.
Check swing, pitch in the dirt, throw down to first. That's out number 3, so it's strikeout number 4 for Thomas Crabtree, but Xavier on the board. Isaac Walksman, second-ranked team in the nation. First by a lot of metrics overall in the nation. Tennessee Volunteers, again, off to an unblemished start to their season. Got a win yesterday over Radford. What's better than one midweek? A second. First time Tennessee playing 2 midweeks back-to-back. This one expected to be one of the more competitive matchups Tennessee has on the midweek schedule. A Xavier team that preseason picked second in the Big East, a team that has won 30 games 3 straight years and went to a regional 2 years ago.
Yeah, and picked second behind UConn, who was in a super regional last year. And Tallahassee have been really strong the last few years.
Andrew Fisher, sky high in foul territory. Play is made third base way. Luke Hammond has it. Out number 1. Logan Schmidt has faced 4 and sat 4 down.
Yeah, so here we are talking about how crazy the wind's going to be today, and it's not blowing quite as
slowed down.
That's the exact ball
where
I'm like, yeah, I got no clue what's going to happen. Hammond doesn't even scoff at that one.
No. First game,
first game.
Levi Clark wastes no time, shoots one out to right field. All he does is get hits. Leads this Tennessee team in average, sitting at 530 at-bats. He drops in Tennessee's first base hit.
Didn't feel like waiting around there. The old first pitch breaking ball. Stays on it just long enough. Kind of gets it off the cap, but Tennessee fans know how strong he is. He's able to get it over the second baseman and dump it in front of the right fielder.
3 hits for him last night against Radford. Picks right back up where he left off. Turns it over to Reese Chapman, who as well has been one of Tennessee's most consistent hitters this season. 16 hits and 41 at-bats, sitting at a 330 or 390 average.
Chapman last night, one of the Grand Slam culprits. Also had a double the other way.
It's pretty wild. You hit the first Grand Slam and you're not alone. You got 2 of your teammates after you do the same thing. They kind of upstage you by by doing it after. First time in Tennessee history they've hit 3 Grand Slams in a game. It ties an NCAA record.
It's insane, and they're 12 games in, and they're already halfway to the season-long NCAA record or close to it. So got to be on base to hit Grand Slams, but Tennessee gets on base a lot and has a lot of guys in the lineup with home run power.
7 Grand Slams in 12 games. You're on correct pace to break 14 Grand Slams. That's the record. Tennessee hit 12 last season. 2-2 count for Chapman. And he lays off.
And a lot of this last night as well. 3-2 seemed like every time. And when you're a hitter and you can lean on the pitcher, the longer you stay in there, the more pitches you see, generally the better your chances are to get a mistake or kind of figure out how the ball is coming out of their hand, see the spin a little bit better. It's just a lot of worked counts and a lot of pressure on pitchers, and then when they get the mistake, they didn't miss it.
3-2 foul tip into the mitt for out number 2. A huge get for Logan Schmidt.
Yeah, really good pitch there. Challenged him on 3-2. Able to keep it away. That probably just off the plate, but probably too close to take for Chapman. And above the hands, not able to catch up.
Third strikeout for Schmidt today. Again, this is his first Xavier start here in his second year with the Musketeers. Keeps Levi Clark stranded at first. Now second out of the inning. Here's Cannon Peebles. He'll take a cut into the screen. Peebles hit a home run in Houston. That was his lone hit in 7 at-bats. They got all of that hit. Upper deck out in Dyken Park now is what it's called, where the Astros will play their ball games this year. Now Peebles will have to battle. It's been an efficient first 2 innings so far for Logan Schmidt. Xavier got their 2 hits with 2 outs half inning ago. It's Peebles, third base way, almost able to sneak it down the line.
Yeah, Schmidt's really stayed away from these left-handed hitters. He's been able to locate on his arm side, which is away to these lefties, and been dropping in the breaking ball a lot on 0-1 to kind of steal that second strike and be 0-2. then you got all kinds of options when you're 0-2. So he's done a good job of being ahead.
No balls, 2 strikes. Pitch in, Peebles in the air. Left center gap, Hendrickson. That's his ball. And he catches it through the wind. 3rd out in the 2nd. Tennessee scoreless. They leave Levi Clark straight. Tennessee heads to the bullpen here in the top of the 3rd. Thomas Crabtree got the start through 2 innings. Gave up 1 run, 2 hits. And now righty Austin Breedlove will take over. Junior, another newcomer for Tennessee from Cleveland State JUCO, will take over. Crabtree able to get 1, rolls over. First pitch he sees for out number 1.
Yeah, Breedlove, nice job coming in, getting first pitch out.
That has to be a good feeling, right? You come right in, 1 pitch, waste no time, 1 out on the board.
There's not a whole lot better as a pitcher. You really do want that. But Breedlove's been good the several times he's been in there. Kind of similar to Crabtree in a way. He's a righty with good life on his stuff. It'll be low 90s, sharp breaking ball.
Second pitch, Hendrickson in play. Pop fly over from second. Keelan now 2 pitches, 2 outs. That's better than 1 pitch, 1 out.
That's even better.
It has been a dream start to the inning.
And now you must throw a strike. The hardest thing to do ever. 2 pitches, 2 outs, and you're just telling yourself, please, please swing.
Ever happened for you? 3 pitches, 3 outs?
No, there's no way Mish swings right here. You get an offensive timeout.
Yep.
No way.
Yeah, let's slow this down.
Different coaches kind of have different philosophies after the 1 pitch, and I think Xavier being seemingly aggressive thus far today, you kind of figure, okay, 1 pitch, 1 out, you're likely to get a strike because the pitcher knows you may be taking one.
Yep.
So they go after it. Doesn't work out, obviously, and now you kind of have to swallow the pill and at least take 1. You can't do 3 pitches.
Well, Connor Mish was patient last time. He worked a walk. And he does take, but it is a strike.
Really good there.
Yep.
That's way easier said than done. Just throw a strike.
Is it harder because when you know a batter is likely going to take the pitch?
Yeah, it's kind of like preseason or whatever. If somebody's standing in but you know they're not swinging, it's just it's different. It's almost harder to throw a strike. It's a mind game.
Yeah. Off speed in there. Strike 2. 1-2 start for Breedlove facing Mish.
This is a really good breaking ball. Buckled him a little bit.
On the ground, RL Antigua getting the start at shortstop, and he's so smooth in the field. Really quick 1-2-3 inning for Austin Breedlove. In Knoxville, Tennessee, Xavier, a classic midweek matchup in Knoxville. These teams have seen each other before in the midweek setting. And as mentioned, Xavier, wild first month of the season. They have played 20 games. They will play 20 games in 7 different states, 13 against Power 4 opponents. They've been to Arizona, they've been to California, they'll be in Tennessee here this entire week. Then they go to LSU for another midweek as if they hadn't had enough playing Tennessee and Vandy. Continue to add on to what has just been, it has to be the toughest schedule in the nation to start the season.
Non-conference wise, I don't think there's any debate. I mean, Ball State on March 21st will be their home opener.
Wow.
Life on the road.
Yep.
Start calling Xavier their rock band.
And none of them are relatively close to Cincinnati. This is not too far, right? I mean, about 3.5, 4 hours, 4.5.
Yeah, this week in Knoxville and Nashville is probably one of their closer proximity ones. But a lot of northern teams are kind of forced to do this. Maybe not to this extent, but certainly for the first few weeks, just have to go somewhere where they can play.
Goal obviously is that you hope it pays dividends come Big East play. And Xavier, for a reason, they've been one of the best teams in the Big East.
He is, and again, it's fastball away to a lefty and gets it above the hand. Yeah, a really strong top hand is kind of the word there if you're a hitter to get to the fastball away. Stay on top of the thing.
A really good bounce back outing so far from Logan Schmidt. He got an inning and a third at Stanford last Friday, gave up 6 earned runs. Antigua in the air, left field. Hendrickson underneath it. 2 quick outs here in the inning.
Yeah, like you said, a really good bounce back. I mean, 5 appearances had allowed 15 hits. Only 8 2/3 innings total. 12 earned runs. Like we said, one crooked number like that can really throw it off. You can tell he's better than that. And has thrown a lot of innings over the course of his career and a decent amount at Xavier specifically. But he's been sharp tonight. He's been ahead in every count. And if you're going to hold this lineup down, that's a non-negotiable. You cannot work from behind against Tennessee, and he has not done that.
He is once through the Tennessee lineup. And back to the top with Dean Curley. And again, working ahead. 2 quick strikes with the fastball. Curley, 1 of 4 strikeouts first time through. Slapped foul. Hit sharply right field side. Curley will try to jumpstart the inning. Just 1 hit. So low scoring start between Xavier and Tennessee. It was a whole lot of run production last night for Tennessee and Radford. We're seeing a bit of the opposite so far to start. As Logan Schmidt, 5 strikeouts through 3 innings of work. Thomas Crabtree, solid at just the lone home run from Isaac Waxman is the difference.
And Breedlove been really solid since he's come in. It's been on both sides, strikes, strikes, strikes. And there were some walks and errors, and certainly a more offensive. Coming off a night where he had a couple errors and really struggled. That's tougher than any play that came his way last. Nicely done for out number 1.
Yeah, you talk about the mental game, trying to bounce back from a night where you don't have your best defensive outing. And not helpful maybe to get a ball hugging the line like that, but Curley able to make the most of the play.
Yeah, nice play. And he's such a veteran. He goes about it in such a professional way. You're not worried about Dean Curley. You obviously don't want to make errors, but that's a guy who played middle infield for the national champions last year and is one of the main guys on this team and will certainly be fine.
He's played some short and third for most of the season. He's at third tonight with Antigua at short. Aiden Anderson in the box takes strike 2. Anderson a strikeout victim back in the second.
He's been really aggressive with that breaking ball. You can just see the hand speed, and that one falls pretty much all the way through the zone. Gets the strikeout there on 2-2.
Breedlove, 13 starts last season with Cleveland State. Another big-time strikeout thrower at the JUCO level. 120 strikeouts in 82 innings. Another Tennessee native, went to McCallie High School in Chattanooga. Now Luke Hammond, his second at-bat of the season. You mentioned it hasn't played up till this point. Quick fly out back in the second.
Yeah, not totally sure what was holding him out, but Xavier's definitely glad to have him back.
And one of the team's better hitters last season, 11 home runs, 36 RBIs, hit .290. So he'll try to work himself back into the fold. Crushes one towards Tennessee's dugout foul. 2-2 count.
If I was Breedlove, it would be breaking ball.
Just fired in the fastball. Here's the 2-2, and it was the breaking ball. Okay, what now?
Breaking ball again.
Okay.
That one was a little more obvious. He's got some options this time.
Hammond a bit out in front.
I can see him going back to the heater, but I always like to pitch in pairs, meaning you double up.
As he faces the minimum 1, 2, 3. Defending national champions back at home for the second of 10 games. They host St. Bonaventure for 3 games over the weekend starting on Friday. St. Bonaventure is in Nashville playing Vanderbilt tonight. So Xavier and the Bonnies will flip-flop come Friday.
Going to cross paths in Crossville or Cookville at some point, probably.
Stop at the same gas station. Take notes.
Yeah, both teams will, I imagine, make the trip. Maybe stay in their respective cities tonight and then drive over tomorrow for a Thursday practice and prep for the series. That's kind of interesting scheduling. I wonder if that was Stay fair.
Gavin Keelan drops it in. All the way to the wall. Another double as Gavin Keelan continues to crush balls.
Yeah, my apologies there. I was talking to it. Had to make sure it listened, stay fair.
It did.
Keelan is some kind of locked in right now. I mean, he is a line drive fest all over the field. This one going the other way. Hit an opposite field homer in Houston. He's pretty much, there's not a whole lot of ways to get him out. And it's kind of the first trouble here for Schmidt, who's been cruising through 3. Now he faces the middle of the order, starting with Hunter Inslee and Keelan in scoring position.
The first time Tennessee's gotten a leadoff base runner in this game. Just the second hit there, first for extra bases. As Keelan is the tying run here in the bottom of the 4th. Hunter Inslee up the middle. The shift was on, so second baseman Lambden is there to make the play. Out number 1, it does advance Keelan 90 feet away.
Yeah, Inslee gets jammed a little bit. It was a slider, but kind of backed up on Schmidt there, and Hunter does his job. Gets Keelan over to third, and now you've got multiple ways to score him. Looks like Xavier's going to play back. Would rather trading out for a run here, especially with the 4-hole Andrew Fisher and the damage he can do. You don't want to make it any easier on him to get a hit and possibly put up a crooked number.
Andrew Fisher had a good midweek outing last night, had 2 home runs, one of which a grand slam. Anything deep here will tie this game. That's high, but not far enough, and it's in foul territory. Keelan will go to the bag anyways. Is it going to stay in the park?
Well, that's the first one we've seen cause some problems, and that you could tell by the way all 3 of them were running at it. They weren't real sure. So Fisher, new life.
Yeah. At first it seemed a bit shallow, a bit more shallow than it ended up being. It definitely got pushed out, and then more so to the left. So it's just strike 1.
So Fisher last night doubles his home run total early in the year and almost doubles his RBI total. He's at 294. That's off the plate. But a guy that Tennessee knows has hit at the highest level in the SEC. He was, I believe he was a freshman All-American at Duke his freshman year, so they know he's going to be a big piece of the lineup. And for Schmidt, he's been ahead the entire day, and Fisher kind of gets an even count. Is able to ambush a fastball right there. Very similar to the first one he hit last night. That was a solo.
Muscles that one out of there. 5th home run of the season. And again, as you mentioned, 2 yesterday, doubled his total, and now is added to that number once again. And the numbers weren't bad, but for his standard and compared to maybe the rest of that lineup, a slower start. But now starting to catch fire here in the midweeks.
Yeah, kind of just a start. Not a bad start, not an insane start. But Fisher's certainly one of those guys who can put up some big numbers, and now has more than doubled his RBI and home run total in these 2 midweek games with several innings to go. And speaking of big starts, Levi Clark steps in.
We talk about, why, midweek games can make an impact. Performances like those, huge confidence boosters against a guy in Logan Schmidt who's been pretty lights out.
Absolutely, and you face good arms all the time at this level in baseball, but there's something a little different about a non-conference game, and maybe you get to see a few more pitches or just take a deep breath when you're in the box.
Two count for Levi Clark. Had a single back in the second. Was Tennessee's lone hit. First trip through the lineup.
But there's always those guys like Christian Moore who seem to hit better the bigger the stage, and seemed like SEC pitching was what he needed to hit his homers, so who knows.
Yeah, Tennessee got their first taste of a regional type environment and maybe an SEC type weekend out in Houston. And 3-2's inside, ball 4. Levi Clark on base again. But you're really going to find out who's here to stay in the lineup when the Gators come into town and you throw that first pitch of SEC play.
No doubt, and you'll learn a lot, but 30 games kind of sounds like a decent bit, and it is. It's not a sprint. It's not a marathon. I'd say it's a solid body of work. So if you win all 3 against Florida or lose all 3 or somewhere in between, then you take that and try to take a step forward the next week, because Tennessee will head to Tuscaloosa, and it doesn't get any easier.
Nope. Alabama team off to a great start as well. Up into the top 25 now.
They have the baseball LeBron, Justin LeBron.
And he's been hitting the ball.
He is a stud. I like him a lot. Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. These Tennessee fans are listening.
13-0 start for Alabama. Yeah, as a former VFL. It's very rare to say, right?
You can respect good players, even if they go to Alabama. Chapman, a big cut.
0-2 start for Chapman. He had a grand slam last night, and it at times last season where maybe you'd see the swing become undisciplined on maybe a breaking ball pitch like that. He stayed through and kind of golfed one out.
Yeah, really stayed in his legs and kind of got down there with it, if you will. And the baseball phrase is keep your nose on it, and he certainly did that. But really, you just get the barrel to it, and was able to backspin a low pitch. It was a changeup down and in.
That is strike 3 called as Chapman caught looking on the fastball. That's his second strikeout.
Yeah, I thought that one was there, but home plate umpire Brian DeBrouwer Kind of a little flinch there. He was at third base last night, so working back-to-back games. I think the rest of the umpiring crew is different, with Rusty Griffin at first, John White at second, Kevin Elzy at third.
Good bounce-back punch-out for Schmidt, following the home run and the walk. Previous two hitters, and now Cannon Peebles, who's 0 for 1. Tennessee took the lead here in the bottom of the fourth. Two-run homer for Andrew Fisher.
Are you a fan of the ABS system, the challenge system that's new in spring training this year?
I am a fan of it, and I think where you're going to start figuring it out is when you use it and how you use it the right way, and then how do we not waste time?
Yeah, as long as it's quick, I'm good with it. I think.
And you feel like you will. Pace of play obviously has been a big topic for both pros and the collegiate level. Peebles not having to swing on the 3-0, but there are parts of it, and you might feel differently as a pitcher. You feel like just the human error is a factor of the game. Balls and strikes they're going to differ every game.
It is, and there's human error in every sport. But if you can make the sport a little bit better and not completely disrupt the flow of the game, then I'm for it. And I kind of like how if you get it right, you get to keep it and keep using it, and when you get it wrong, you're done. So
it's another little game within the game.
Yeah, we'll see how long it takes to trickle down, because usually when something happens in the majors, it'll be in the college game eventually, as Peebles works a 2-out walk.
Second walk of the inning for Schmidt. Clark able to advance into scoring position.
Yeah, Schmidt up to 68 pitches here through 2 3/3. This is a big at-bat for both teams in this one, even though it's still relatively early.
Bargo 0 for 1 with the strikeout. Did not play last night against Radford. Had a couple of ABs out at Houston. 4 hits and 24 ABs. He's got good power in his swing. 3 homers on the year. 3 of those 4 hits have left the building. We saw Schmidt work ahead mostly through that first time through the order, but now he's starting to fall behind.
Yeah, they're starting to lean on him a little bit, and you talk about Bargo, it's a guy that, one of those guys can hit that SEC pitching. Off to a slow start this year, but a veteran approach will certainly play some sort of factor in the lineup. Whether it's a DH, a pinch hit, he can play left, he can play first. Team guy, everybody in the locker room loves him. So he's just one of those guys you want on your team, and will certainly fit in somewhere. To what capacity is still to be determined.
4-pitch walk to Dalton Bargo, and a familiar sight for Tennessee. Bases loaded here in the bottom of the fourth.
And since the Fisher homer, none of these base runners have reached via a base hit. It's been 3 walks, and that's the recipe that you kind of want to avoid.
Yeah, but that's back-to-back walks with 2 outs. Now Jellick with the catcher's gear on, going to make the walk to the mound. Likely some activity out in the Xavier bullpen, which is hidden from our vantage point. Already 1 mound visit. Again, just 1 more out needed. It was a scoreless first 3 innings for Logan Schmidt. He had 5 strikeouts. He added a 6th this inning. And now he's dealing with the 9-hole hitter. You think, let's let him attack this 9-hole hitter, Ariel Antigua 0 for 1, and then if we get him out, head to the bullpen in the 5th, but back to the top of the order, likely going to see a change.
Yeah, I think this is probably his last hitter.
You surprised that?
Nope, maybe not.
Yeah, I was about to say, surprised he will even face Antigua. Maybe just some time. Let the bullpen continue getting loose. 72 pitches for Logan Schmidt. And now Xavier to the bullpen here in the bottom of the fourth. Bases are loaded. It's a one-run game. Huge spot. Musketeers will change hands. Xavier to the bullpen. Bases are loaded. And they go to the righty, Ben Weber, junior Minnesota native. Will step in a massive spot. He'll try to keep things at a one-run ball game with 2 outs. He's got Ariel Antigua, 9-hole hitter in this Tennessee lineup. First pitch swinging, a roller to first, and that's the inning. Ben Weber gets out of the jam.
kêu đáp nhiều không để đâu không có không đặt lấy Kalian bisa bimbing dia